tons of new content coming out with the new season 27. Let's begin. I'm going to really quickly brush over what we got last week. I'm not even going to go into detail. Last week we got 2 new events. We got the Zenaida's manuscript event. It was just a filler event. And we also got the IGL exhibition hall event. It was also kind of a mini event where you could get some tokens that you could then spend in the special event store to be able to get some a skin for painter and stuff like that. It wasn't really too exciting. They gave us an extra adjusted location in Duo Hunters for a rocket chair. They added the replay delete function. They gave us a small 5th anniversary warm-up event as we're getting closer to the 5th anniversary, and they gave us the new pet beta. I guess they also technically revealed Sangria and her abilities and put her into the test server, but we'll be talking a little bit about that later. First of all, what are we going to be getting this week? We haven't got too much that's been super confirmed. This week we'll be getting the final push event. So that is the final week before the next season where you get extra logic points, an increase in your logic point limit and stuff like that. So that means you can grind out a couple more dice before the end of this season. On the day of the patch, we might also be getting another mini event that will probably only last a week. And this has only been something that was confirmed in the Weibo account in China. It says the Dragon Boat Festival is coming. And this is a small event similar to the previous ones we've had over the last 2 to 3 weeks where you get a portrait and stuff like that. If you complete the event, I guess if you do the missions or whatever, do some matches, log in every day, you'll be able to receive a special portrait, the Dragon Sacrifice portrait. This is a translation. This might not be what it's called in English when it comes out, but it's mostly just an antiquarian themed portrait. And there's also a portrait frame that's translated to Hanging Eye. It's going to be a small event, just a kind of a filler event as they're trying to give us a little bit more to do before there's a big event coming out. There might also be the release of the character adjustments that they were talking about, as they usually release them the week before or on the week of the new season. Unsure if they will release this week, but it's possible we'll see some of these character adjustments coming. But that's, as far as we know, all that's been confirmed for this week. So let's talk about what's coming from the future, and it looks like we have a lot of content coming. I'm excited to talk to you guys about all of this new content. So first of all, let's talk about the character adjustments, and we're getting quite a lot of character adjustments. First of all, Coordinator is getting a massive buff, and this is something that I think a lot of people are excited about. The first adjustment that they are going to be adding is they're adding a new external trait or passive ability, if you want to call it that, called Skilled. This passive gives her a movement speed buff by 20% and a vaulting speed increase by 10% for 3 seconds upon approaching a pallet or a window. She needs to be literally touching the pallet to get that speed boost. You need to be within like 1 to 2 steps away from the pallet to be able to get that extra 20% movement speed, and the vaulting thing also happens at the exact same time. So it's not something that will help you kind of transition to a pallet faster, but it will let you get behind pallets faster, and also will let you vault pallets and stuff like that faster if you're on your way there. They also adjusted her passive ability Army Bond, that is her debuff for decoding. Now this debuff has been adjusted to be a little less punishing. Originally the debuff was 30% when a teammate is on a rocket chair. Now they've adjusted it to 25% when a teammate is on a rocket chair. So she'll be able to get through Cypher machines just a teeny bit faster, and she'll be better at kiting. So this will make Coordinator way more viable. I also want to clarify that these adjustments might be tweaked before they are released into live server. They might not release exactly in this way that they are already. This is only what's available currently in the test server. They mess with the numbers as they go. They may decide not to add any of these changes, although that is probably not going to be the case. Anyway, Gravekeeper got an adjustment. His external trait Underground Sneak has got buffed, where now it takes 2 chip hits to be able to take Gravekeeper out of his underground state. Originally, if you were using something like a statue and you crushed him against the wall when he was in his underground state, that would take him out immediately, the same way if you hit him with a normal hit. But now it will take 2 chip hits, for example 2 Guard 26 bombs, 2 statues, and so on. This is a minor buff, but actually very, very important for his early game kite, and just in general for his rescuers. You'll be able to kind of tank more hits overall, and those characters that have kind of faster ways of dealing damage won't be able to deal it to him as fast as they could before. Weeping Clown is getting a much needed adjustment where they've increased the turning speed of his rocket when he's using it, so he'll be able to kind of do tighter turns and stuff like that, and that is really cool and exciting to see. Weeping Clown is such a weird character. He's one of my favorite characters to play, but his rocket is just a little bit awkward to use sometimes, but that's really good. You could see it in some videos if you want to. It makes it much easier for him to turn. They also increased Weeping Clown's movement speed when he's using a rocket with a teammate. So when he's carrying someone else on a rocket with him, he'll go just a tiny bit faster. Little girl is getting an adjustment that makes it so that she's a little bit easier to use for people who are messing up her pages. Now her pages will not interrupt hunter attack animations. This is something that a lot of people would do. They would accidentally use a page, but the hunter hits them or hits the person who's there on their shoulder, and then they get pushed by the page and they can come in for another attack instantly with no attack recovery. That's not going to be the case anymore. If they're in an attack animation, they won't get cancelled. They won't get any attack recovery cancelled or anything like that. So you can use your pages with a little more confidence now. Was this a necessary change? I guess it did remove a lot of the skill that little girl needed. Now she is a press a button and you're okay kind of character, but I guess whatever. NetEase had to make her a little bit easier. Ripper has got an adjustment. It's a very interesting one where now he will create fog patches that will last 12 seconds around recently downed survivors or around survivors that were just chaired. So if he hits someone and they get downed, a very small patch of fog will appear. This will make it so you can go invisible faster. Maybe if you want to deal with harassers or something like that who might kind of try and stop you from doing the pickup animation, or maybe when you're on a rocket chair, it helps you kind of instantly, almost instantly get your invisibility back once you're camping or something like that. Photographer also got an adjustment that was a very minor adjustment. Most people won't even notice it if they didn't even know he was getting this adjustment. They've adjusted his timings on things. They've reduced the animation time when using his card trick time jump. So when he kind of goes back to one of his footsteps, it will happen just a teeny bit faster than it did before. They also increased the speed of his normal attacks, his swinging of his normal attacks, not on his charge attack. They've reduced it from 0.6 seconds to launch his attack to 0.5 seconds. So it's a 0.1 second difference. Unless you see them side by side, you will never notice. They didn't adjust his attack recovery. They didn't adjust anything else like that. It's just how long it takes him to use his attack. So it happens a little bit faster. This is probably more important around pallets and stuff like that. When people are dropping pallets, this will register as hitting a little bit sooner. Also in the test server, of course, we got the new character Opera Singer, also known as Sangria. I'll probably call her Sangria more than I'll call her Opera Singer because Opera Singer is a very long word. Opera Singer's abilities are very different than I was expecting. She is all based around shadows. So let's talk about her abilities. Please remember that these numbers and these abilities might be changed as they come to live server. They probably will change. They might get buffed, they might get nerfed. So just take these with a grain of salt and understand that this is kind of the basic idea of the character. Opera Singer's main ability focuses around her external trait, Shadow Realm. Shadow Realm is an external trait that will create shadows around all objects of the map, and it creates, I want to call them, train tracks. Essentially how Opera Singer works is she creates lines of shadow around all buildings, all objects that she can use as train tracks for her ability, and while she's in these shadows, while she's following these train tracks, she can't leave without using her attack animation, she will have an increased movement speed of 8%. So she goes a teeny bit faster. She's like a fast train when she's in these shadows. Her abilities are Tier 0 Shadow Leap. Opera Singer can dash forwards at a distance that also lets her dash into shadows and go into stealth form. So she can do a mini dash. It's a very, very short dash, almost as long as a blink, to be able to get into a shadow. If she gets into a shadow, she goes into her shadow form that then gives her that 8% movement speed increase. But she also gets an extra movement speed increase upon dashing to a new shadow. If you're in your normal form and you dash into a shadow, you'll have a 60% movement speed increase that lasts for 2 seconds, but it diminishes. So you're not 60% the entire time. It counts down slower. 60, after 1 second, you'll then be at 30%, and then when you get down to 0 seconds, then you'll be at 0%. So it's not 60 for the entire 2 seconds. And this will happen every single time you enter a new shadow. Her dash cooldown will reset every single time she dashes into a new shadow. So she can just dash between different shadows without ever having to have a cooldown. If she misses a shadow, her cooldown will begin. She has something like an 8-second cooldown right now. And if you dash to the same shadow that you're already in, it will also put the cooldown on, but you will still stay in the same form of the Shadow Realm form. And you will get that movement speed increase of 60% every 2 seconds. So you can't just go dash. You have to wait 2 seconds to be able to get that extra movement speed. But it's fine anyway, because that mostly will never happen. She also has a second part of this ability called the Remnant ability. Upon doing a Shadow Leap, a version of herself will appear at the same location where she started. So there'll be like a kind of a ghost form of her behind wherever she just started her dash. This will be important for for later on. Her second ability for tier 0 is her Shadow Dance ability. This lets Opera Singer teleport to that shadow remnant of herself that she used when she used her dash. She dashes somewhere, she leaves like a kind of a stamp or a kind of a ghost behind wherever she started the dash, and she can quickly teleport back to that thing at any point that she wants to. There can be multiple remnants on the map, as it will create remnants every single time you dash to a new shadow, and it will leave one in the shadow that you are already in. The fact is that it will choose whichever one is closest to the center of your screen, and if you can't see any remnants on your screen at that point, it will just teleport you back to the previous one you just created. So it's a very interesting ability. It lets you move around, go back, and you'll see this often with windows and pallets when you're trying to kind of get people to vault over pallets by chasing them around the building. Her tier 1 ability is Shadow Strike. What Opera Singer does is she throws her cloak forwards and it will travel for 3 seconds or until it hits an object, and it will create a massive trail of shadow that she can then dash into and move around until it disappears. It lasts for 12 seconds before disappearing. It's a very interesting ability overall. It means that she can kind of cover distances where there are no shadows at all, or like big open areas a little bit easier. And her final tier ability is Shadow Leap Advanced. This gives her an increased 20% distance on her Shadow Leap. This is her dash, so it just gives her a tiny bit more distance when she's dashing. I had a play of her on the test server myself in my recent stream. I'll probably be putting a link up above if you want to go and check that out. She's fun, but she's a little bit buggy and a little bit clunky at the moment. It feels kind of restrictive to be within the shadows as there are physical walls. It's as if you're going through a narrow corridor the entire time you're inside of one of the shadows. It's a little bit of a pain. We've had some reveals for the new Essence Season 27 Essence 1. They've revealed the S tier skin for Opera Singer that reminds me a lot of Clerk's S tier skin. Very strange. I'm not a big fan of this S tier skin. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like in the game and not in this kind of watercolored art style. I hope it looks better in the game than it does. Maybe it will surprise me and be fantastic, but I'm not a big fan of this Essence's theme. They also revealed the A tier for Clerk, and also it looks like Forward is also going to be getting an A tier in this Essence. Those skins do look cool. I'm looking forward to seeing Clerk get another skin, as she doesn't really get skins except for B tiers. Very interesting indeed. Along with Season 27 Essence 1, they also revealed the Logic Path skin for Season 27, and this one has got a ton of people excited, as Coordinator will be getting this A tier skin. This skin is going to be called Aphrodite's Kiss, and it's kind of Valentine's themed, a little bit late NetEase. I guess they messed up the timing on it or something, but anyway, this skin looks really fantastic, and of course you'll be getting a portrait frame and a B tier accessory to go along with this. This B tier accessory is called Heart Fan, and it's essentially just a fan. I think a lot of people will be doing a lot of grinding this season to be able to get this skin, because it is very, very nice indeed. And even more Season 27 news, as Season 27 is going to bring along, of course, a new rank essence that's going to bring more rank accessories that you can get. The S tier one has been revealed, and it's the S tier for toy merchant called Mechanical Butterfly. I wonder if it's going to give similar style of effects as to the Entomologist S tier one that kind of creates golden butterflies instead of the bees that Entomologist usually uses. Maybe this will create golden butterflies behind Toy Merchant when she's flying or something like that, or when you use the catapult. Very interested to see what it does. They've also revealed the A tier for Geisha called Sunshine Doll that has 2 forms, like one white doll and one black doll. I wonder what this will do. Maybe just some smoky effects, unsure. And they also revealed the A tier for Postman Stamp Album. How can we forget, of course, the Kamaty Moon crossover part 3 that we've got some more details for. That will be coming on the same day as Season 27 Essence 1, that is the 21st of June. It's actually happening a day before the normal patch. The Kamaty Moon crossover part 3 is bringing 3 skins along. Of course, we already knew this, bringing the A tier skin for Sculptor Reanimator, the A tier skin for Prospector Two-Faced, and the A tier skin for Perfumer Distiller. All of these skins will be available with a 15% discount for the first week, and only for echoes. I just want to clarify that, as people might not know. But there seems to be another thing that you can get during this event that might make it a little bit cheaper for you. If you log into the game, you'll get a 40% discount card for the crossover part 3. I'm assuming you can only use this on one skin. Previous crossover part skins will also be returning. That means the 2 skins from the first part and the 2 skins from the second part. They will all be available for full price, no discount as far as I can tell, and they will be available for 1,380 98 echoes. If you purchase either of the 2 skins from either part, so if you get one of the 2 skins from part 1 or you get either of the 2 skins from part 2, you'll get their respective statue furniture pieces. And there is also an event, the same events that we've been getting for part 1 and for part 2. If you do the event missions, you'll be able to get 3 portraits, 3 frames, and also 3 graffitis. Each one are themed on the skins that are coming out with this new part. As the new Hunter Opera Singer is about to come out, you might need to brush up and improve on your Identity 5 kiting skills, so you should check out the video that's on the screen right now for some great tips to improve your matches and make sure you don't mess up.